Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing the themes in the novel Oil on Water by Helon Habila. In our previous lessons, we discussed extensively the plot of the novel, and in another video we discuss the characters and the roles that each character play. Please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so that you get notified when the video on the literary devices used in the novel is uploaded. Our first theme we are going to be looking at today is the theme of militancy. The theme of militancy is very important to the novel in the sense that the plot of the novel is situated on the foundation of militancy. It was as a result of the militancy and the kidnapping of the British woman Isabella Flood that informed the traveling of Rufus and Zach from Port Harcourt to the Niger Delta Creek. And militancy has been a recurrent decimal and stigma in the Niger Delta part of Nigeria from the 1990s even up to 2022. So the novel captures the events that happened, the militancy and the kidnapping and the degradation of environment that happens in the 1990s and from the time when the oil exploration started. And we also look at it in the novel that we saw that Rufus interviewed James Flood, and through that we discover that the militancy, the British oil explorers were not concerned about the militancy or the militant activity in the Niger Delta. Especially, they were not sympathetic with the people. And as a result of the environmental degradation, in a way of fighting back or trying to rescue the environment, the people of the Niger Delta form militant group, different military group who are fighting the government and at the same time kidnapping the oil workers, especially the British expatriates who are exploring the oil in the Niger Delta. So the military men and the militancy has been a term in the flesh of the Nigerian government right from the time of General Sani Abacha in the 1990s to even the time of Muhammad Buhari, who is the current president of Nigeria. So the militancy and the military activity is a major theme in this novel because both militants are concerned that they are protecting the interests of the environment, and then we saw the Nigerian army also claiming that they are protecting the lives of the people and then the environment from the military activities. So another major theme in the novel is that of kidnapping. In fact, Zach and Rufus travel to the Niger Delta Creek to go and unravel the truth about the kidnapping of Isabella Flood, the wife of the British petroleum engineer James Flood, who was kidnapped, and then the kidnappers or the militant were demanding for ransom. So we realize through the narration by Rufus that Isabella Flood is the British wife of a highly regarded chemical engineer. So, and James Flood, who is the husband, is also very popular in the oil sector. So the background for this particular event as sketched by the novelist is that the military men who effect most of the kidnapping through their cohort and then demand huge and usually meekly paid ransom money for returning the kidnapped person also use this kidnapping to invite group of journalists. So this is a new strand in the kidnapping saga or the kidnapping activity happening in the Niger Delta, because now the kidnappers not only demand for ransom, they also invited journalists to go to come and interview them, to come and publish the truth. They want to reveal the truth to the public, to the international scene, so that the people will be aware of the actual things happening, because the Nigerian government and the oil companies have been using the mainstream media to rant, to criminalize the kidnappers, the militants, and never say good thing about them. They call them bullies, they call them kidnappers, they call them terrorists. So now the kidnapper also, after kidnapping Isabella Flood, now fighting that, okay, they should reveal the truth. Why do they engage in kidnapping? And that was why one of the leader of the military professor, reveal it to reinforce that, okay, they were kidnapping because of the environment. They were kidnapping because of what the government is doing to them and the oil companies are doing, without regard to the lives of the people. In fact, they did not even respect the right of those who were living in the communities where oil are being exploited. And that was one of the reasons why they were kidnapping. And we also discovered in this novel that Salmon, the driver of Isabella Flood, was responsible for the kidnapping of Isabella Flood. In fact, he is the principal kidnapper. And the kidnapping was a form of arrangement to get back at James Flood, who is the husband of Isabella Flood, because James Flood had a sexual affair with Coco and impregnated Coco, and Coco is the fiancé of Solomon, who is the driver of Isabella. And that also angered both Isabella and Solomon. So it was also an attempt to get back to James Flood. So in this novel, we also see that it's not only about ransom, but it's also a form of revenge. And then the militant also trying to express their desire or their feeling or the purpose for which they engage in militant activities. So another one, the destruction of the Niger Delta. In fact, up to today, 2022, the Niger Delta region have been discredited, destroyed, and also, in fact, the ecological shape of the Niger Delta region of Nigeria is nothing to write home about, because of the oil spillage, because of the oil exploration. And the Niger Delta part of Nigeria had a lot of natural resources, not only oil, but the oil exploration has led to the death and the destruction of others. For instance, they have good waters, and most of them their livelihood is fishing. Most of them fish, and they were fishermen. Few of them are farmers. And note that during the oil drilling, the drilling of oil and exploration, the water is contaminated. The river is contaminated to the extent that the fishes died. Most of the fishes died, and at the same time, the oil spillage has made the land unproductive. So, what is left for the people, especially the community, like the community of Irikefe in the novel, and several other communities where the international oil companies are exploring oil, and nothing was left for them. Very few of them were employed just to pacify the community while the others suffer. And that was why people like Professor even revealed to us that he was once worked with one of the oil companies, but he was disgusted and then demoralized, and he has to resign and engage in militant activity so that he will force the government and also the oil companies to take action and protect the lives of the people and protect the environment as well. So that was one of the reasons. So we saw that two important characters in the respect of Major, who represent the military, and Professor, who also represent the militant, air their views. Why the Major tag the militant as terrorists who are destroying the lives of people and also causing a lot of problem for the Nigerian government. The Professor, who also can be the eyes through which we see the opinions of, or we heard about the plans and the purpose of kidnapping by the kidnappers and the militant also revealed to us that, okay, their plan was as a result of what is happening in the environment. Another one is river and water transportation. If you have read this novel, you will realize that the author focuses more on the people and the state of the environment, especially water. And even the title is derived from the situation of the water in the Niger Delta Creek, oil on water. So the oil has contaminated the water. The water is not drinkable. The water is not pure. It's not even usable for cooking or even for bathing. And the oil is under the water is even become poisonous. So most of the transportation also is done through water. The canoe and the transportation from one village to another, from Irikefe to the creek to several others, which Rufus and Zach embark on in company of Tamuno and Michael, who will serve as their guide. We saw that most of the transportation are done through water. And also, Helon Habila wanted us to note what actually happened to the situation of the environment. And in an attempt to that, it focuses even on the water. And where an oil company drill a well, it uses water to be drilled down into the ground. So water is the resource that is used in hydraulic fracking to be able to extract the oil out from under the ground. So the title is fitting because the water was the resource that the indigenous people centered their life on. And that is where they cut their food from. So I found the title to be ironic because not only were the oil company take the land of the native people, but they were also removing the clean water out of the river. Why? Because of the drilling. So they took the land, note that where they were exploring the water, the oil, are lands belonging to the natives. So after taking their land, probably pay their stipend as a form of compensation, and then the water that the people maybe depend on for livelihood through fishing and then for drinking and probably using it for irrigation in their maybe a small part of land that can still grow crop, we are also contaminated, and then they were left with nothing. Another one is environmental pollution. In fact, the environmental pollution is central to this novel because the death of the birds, the drilling of the oil, this carbon dioxide, and also the spilling of oil to the river, and even the destruction of the landscape. All these are part of environmental pollution that the novel explore and reveal to us. So the pollution of the Niger Delta water and land through environmental degradation is the most obvious kind that the novel depicts. So what the author makes us realize is that the human corruption of greed, irresponsibility, and wanton violence that precede the pollution of river and land, of which the oil smuggle natural resources, merely reveal to us how the government was indifferent to the plight of the people. And up to date in 2022, the environmental pollution is still ongoing in the Niger Delta. The land of the people has been taken over by the oil companies in an attempt to explore oil. So the land is polluted, and it led to death of human beings, death of fishes, death of animals, death of birds, and even making the land so unproductive and the water not good for drinking. In fact, not even good, not usable, not good for human use in any form. So another one is the order versus chaos. Who is maintaining order in the Niger Delta? And who are those causing chaos? The Nigerian military, represented by Major, who also talked with Rufus, argue or claims that the militants were causing chaos, that they were in the Niger Delta region to maintain order. But in another, we also saw are listening to the view of the militant through the eyes of Professor, who is also a leader of the militant group. He also argued that the militant are maintaining order, trying to maintain natural order by maintaining the environment, protecting the environment from pollution, and protecting the lives of the people, and protecting even the life of the animals like fishes, birds, and other animals in the Niger Delta from being killed by the Nigerian army and also by the activities of the oil companies. So we realize through Rufus that okay, both the Nigerian military and the Niger Delta militant causes chahos in an attempt to maintain order and cause a lot of chaho for both the environment and the human lives. Other themes in the novel include that of guilt. Rufus was so guilty that he did not stand for his sister Boma during her travel. You know, Boma had an accident. There was fire explosion. There was explosion which led to fire. The oil burnt, and then during that, in the course of that, her fate was disfigured, and then the husband also left her. So Rufus was so worried that he did not stand for the sister as he ought to do during the travels of the sister. Another one is love and divorce. We also discover in the novel that John and Boma married. They were deeply in love. They got married, and because of the challenges and other things that happened in differences between them, we also realize that John left Boma, and then divorce took place. Another one is death of fishes, death of birds, death of other animals, and even death of one of the character called Jamabo, which was mentioned by Salmon, and then the death of others in the novel. In fact, death was rampant, both death of natural environment, then death of animals, and death of human beings. Another theme in the novel is that of passion and dedication. We also realize that Rufus and Zach are very passionate about their activity. They were passionate about unraveling the truth in the kidnapping saga and in the crisis in the Niger Delta as a whole. And they were so dedicated to it that they risked their life traveling from Port Harcourt to the Niger Delta Creek. In fact, many journalists in Nigeria today are afraid of going to the creek because you may fall victim or probably being killed by the Niger Delta militant or by the Nigerian soldier. But they took the risk and they unraveled the truth in the context of the novel. So we realize that both Zach and Rufus were able to achieve their aims. So they brought out the interesting story to be published by Daily Star newspaper, and also at the end of it, we realized that the kidnapping happened, and then there was form of arrangement and also insincerity in the whole saga that took place. So in our next lesson, we are going to be discussing the literary devices used in the novel. Please remember to click the notification bell so that you get notified. Thank you and have a great day.